Gamesense tips. Even though you have an idea of how to play the game right, it won't do you any harm to learn more tips or remind yourself of the things you might be forgetting. Today we'll go over the 10 best tips you guys put down in the comments that I think you will find useful. Sound cues. And that means footsteps, gunshots, explosions, and everything that can help a lot in getting out of sticky situations. For example, a missed sniper shot hitting a wall has a different sound to a gun such as Kilo 141. Other guns have distinguishable gunfire sounds too, so take that as information as to how you will engage potential gunfight. You'll also be able to hear bouncing grenades if enemies didn't have them cooked properly, giving you the time to get out of the way. If you haven't set up your audio settings to hear only the important sounds, just head on to Settings, Audio and Graphics, then tap on the Audio tab. You can copy the one I use right here, but the most important one is turning down or muting the ambient volume, which can be distracting depending on the map you're playing on and can drown out the more important sounds like footsteps. Now you'll be able to get more sound cues than you did before. When playing respawns, if you still have no idea where the enemies could spawn, especially early game when you don't have UAVs yet, look at your teammate's position and take that as information where the enemy may be located. How? If the majority of your teammates are in a certain spot, there is a high chance that the enemies could be spawning at the opposite side. This helps you know how to reposition yourself and anticipate enemies. Always looking around whenever you hear or see a friendly die is one of the things you can do, as it can give you a general sense of direction as to where the enemy could be, especially if it comes down to 1v1 fights in search and destroy matches. From there, pre-aim where the enemy you think will most likely come out of, and watch your 6 if ever they don't end up showing. For good measure, if you aren't sure that the enemy is going to appear, I can give you 3 options. First is to continuously flick and center from both angles, although you might get dizzy from switching lanes constantly. Second is to commit to one angle or lane, then count 1, 2, 3, and if no one shows up, switch to your next best guess and count 1, 2, 3 until you exhaust all your options. Now you might die from bad timing, but it's a good option if you usually panic. The last one is if you're only watching 2 lanes, try to put your crosshair at the center of the 2 and flick onto the target as soon as he shows up. This way, you don't overcommit and you'll only need to flick a shorter distance. Only do this trick if you have mastered your sensitivity. Master baiters. They are annoying, and they are going to take advantage of you if you take the same route when rushing over and over again. Stop doing this. Set your ego aside and help your team win rather than trying to beat one guy 1v1 in a 5v5 game. If you really want to defeat him in a gunfight, try to find another way and get the edge over him. If you're rushing, try not to throw explosives straight into areas where you think you will go, because once you throw, say, a frag grenade to a certain spot, you will be expected by enemies. Not only that, getting there too fast might bite you back. Be strategic with your grenade placements so you can get more value out of them. And since we're talking about rushing, know when to play your life and wait for your teammates. Sometimes you'll be alone and the farthest one pushed up when all your teammates have died. You don't want to be that guy that tries to challenge the enemy team 1v5. If you end up being the only guy in an enemy dominated area, your job is to stay alive and buy your team some time to reposition. Dying from a solo push will end up resetting your team's push, and this gives the enemy more time to have a better defense that you won't be able to break. Try to play your life and let your team have the best possible chance of taking control of the game. It's not that over-exaggerated zigzag movement can be useful. It does have its place in the game at the right time, at the right situation. But calm and calculated movement will save you a lot of energy if you use more of the information available to you, like the kill feed, minimap, and position yourself to take a gunfight the best way possible. Slide peeking, jump peeking, bunny hopping, and strafing are the moves that I believe are most essential and can help you win most gunfights. Speaking of calculated movement, don't prone or drop shot in the middle of the map. This is how you look. I'd even advise you to avoid being in the middle of the map unless you're using smoke grenades to blind enemies. Most of the time, try to stay behind or beside cover to take less damage once the enemy shoots back. But if you really can't help it and you're out in the open, try crouching instead of drop shot. Guns in the current meta have mostly vertical recoil, and crouching does get you out of their crosshair while still having the ability to move around rather than pinning yourself down to the ground. Mix this with strafing to dodge some bullets in a head-to-head gunfight. Pro players have the most advanced and best game sense when it comes to playing COD Mobile, and you'll be surprised how much you can learn from them. Watch and learn. You can watch their previous tournaments and how they position themselves in certain maps and game modes, or you can go to their YouTube channels if they have one and try to learn how they move, how they react, and where they center their crosshairs, all that stuff. The 3 best COD Mobile pros you can learn from are Heaven, Bolu, and Vig, as they are the only ones that I'm well aware of. Who's your favorite pro player or content creator to watch in COD Mobile? Let us know down in the comments below. Aim is one of the most important things you could learn, so watch this video for more aim tips. Or if you want to train your aim instead, hop onto training mode and click on this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.